I've written at the top on the left-hand side of the screen above the staff the formula for a major scale. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Or whole step, two whole steps, one half step, three whole steps, one half step. So again, if we're looking at C major, which is going to be our um, probably most clear example for now, and I'll just write the steps here. The reason we talk about C major now is because there are no sharps or flats in a C major scale. So we simply write the notes and they correspond to the white keys on the keyboard. Okay, that's what's written on the left. If we went through between every note, we would find that they correspond with with each step. This would be a whole step. This would be a whole step from here to here. E to F is a half step, okay, and we know that because there's no black key in between. By the way, that's why we use the piano keyboard when we talk about music theory, because it's easy to see the distance between the notes. That's the whole reason. It has nothing to do with playing the piano. It's so you can see that between the E and the F, there's E to F is a half step because there's no black key in between. Or D to E is a whole step because there are two half steps to get there. Whole step, half step. Okay, back to C major. C major, we use that because they're all white keys, but what if we want a different key or a different scale? So let's take G major as an example. Okay, so the G major scale, sorry, it sounds like this. Okay, you'll notice that there is one black key played, and which means something has to be sharp or flat, right? So I already said that it's a G scale, so I might as well start writing. The first note will be a G, and this is almost always true when you have the name or note name of a scale. Usually the first and last note in that scale will correspond to the name. So G major starts and ends on G, C major starts and ends on C, so on and so forth. Okay, I'm gonna write the notes as they appear on the white keys from G to G, and we're gonna go through the notes from one note to the next in each step here, and decide are they half steps or whole steps, and is this going to be the proper way to write this major scale. Okay, so we'll start with G to A. Is G to A a whole step? It should be, right? If we're looking at this, these should go in order as they are written. So that means from this note to this note is a whole step, or at least it should be. Let's look at the keyboard. We're starting on G. Oops. G to A. It looks like a whole step. There's one half step in between. One G to G sharp half step, and then G sharp to A. So from G to A is a whole step. That is correct. If you look on the left, at the top of the screen here, we're looking at a W as the first step. And then we go note for note. The second note, which is an A, to the B. You can visually see right away it's another whole step, and that corresponds with our formula, whole, whole, half. Okay, so the next needs to be a half from B to C. So far it looks good. B to C is a half. Okay, so we're going to the next set of whole notes. C to D, written down C to D over the bar line, and C to D certainly is a whole step. D to E, D to E. It says we're supposed to have a whole step, and we certainly do. And then we wrote on the staff, we wrote E to F, which is a half step, where the formula says there should be one more whole step. Okay, so we can't play an F. F should not be right because we need a whole step above the E if we're going through our formula. whole step above the E, which just means we add one more half step, which is this note, an F sharp, we'll call it. So from E to F sharp is a whole step. So in order to make this a true G major scale, we need to make that a sharp. And then after this F sharp, we need one more half step, and that takes us to G. So if I were to play this again, right? This sounds an awful lot like, it just happens to start on this note. What would it sound like if we didn't put a sharp in front of the F? If it was just an F natural in the scale from G to G? It's just not a major scale. It doesn't sound wrong. It doesn't sound bad. That scale is used a lot. It looks like a C major scale. It just started on a different note. So the reason we use these accidentals in front of a note to make it sharp, to make it flat, is so that we can kind of take this idea of a major scale and start it on any note. So we just wrote a G major scale here. We need one whole step from the first note to the second. So that's one whole, half. So I'm just going to walk through the formula here really quickly. From G, we need a whole step. So there's whole, one whole, the second whole, half step, and then three whole steps. And then half. Whole, half, whole, half, G major.